difference between switching from high school into college life?
So I would say the difference between switching from high school and going to college is that, you get to make your own schedule. There's no one there telling you what time to get up, what time you need to do these assignments. You really kind of just have your own expectations, and really takes a very disciplined person to make that switch and really be committed, because high school is free, but college, it's your money that you're paying for, honestly. Okay, so I would say life before COVID, life was good, like I feel like it was good, but at the same time, I would say I made a lot of excuses. I would say, oh, I don't have time for this. I would be going, but I would be like, okay, I get to wake up tomorrow. I get to do this, not having to not see people. Like, I get to see whoever I want if I just call them, and it's that simple. Then life after COVID, it's been an adjustment. I would say I went through more states of like being sad mentally, just because it's a lot more isolation. I couldn't see my friends. We gotta wear the mask, which I don't like, but safety first. And also just the fact that COVID allowed me to have more time to just kind of sit and take things day by day, really think. And all this time that I said, oh, I didn't have time to do this, I had more time to actually do other things.
Mental health on a college campus can be very hard to navigate due to the fact that most people don't know how to talk about it. They don't know where to go to. And if they say something that's too messed up, they're afraid that they might get 1013. Last semester, I was 1013 for having a dream about a friend, which therefore I got isolated, treated like I was a prisoner in my own home. I pay money to be somewhere, but yet I'm also not being treated the way I should be. And that can create fear. It can make it unsafe. And college, they make it seem like it's a safe place, but it's actually not. Alright, so in college, everyone wants to have friends, you want to work, and you want to have great grades. It's hard to do that at first, especially when you're a freshman. I personally recommend freshmen don't work in their first year, just so you can understand how college works. You got to learn the difference between keeping up with your professors, learning how to email correctly, and then making new friends. At first, I personally struggled due to the fact that I was working anything between 26 hours to 30 hours in retail, and then coming home and then doing homework. Eventually, I fell apart because I couldn't keep up with both, and then I also wanted to hang out with friends, and it was just too many factors, and something had to cancel out. And if you're going to choose college, you at least got to choose your studies first. In college, you start to find love, you start to find different friendships. Whenever you get into a breakup, or you and your bae get into a bad dispute, you start to say, you know what, I'm too sad to get out of bed, I'm too sad to do my homework, and then you fail. It gets rough, then you try to catch back up, then you can't because you're allowing another person to make you feel like crap, and that's not fair to your grades, it's not fair to your family, it's not fair to yourself, especially if you're trying to get a degree in something that you care about and you're passionate about.
Okay, so in college, sometimes friendships change. In the beginning, when you and your friends aren't going to necessarily the same school, you kind of try to make more effort to talk. But as you try to become your own person, you find out that you and your friends may not have the same interests anymore, may not laugh at the same jokes, so then you start to drift apart. But, at times you just have to either accept that you talk to your friends when you make that time, and friendships don't always have to be, let's talk every day. We kind of just pick up where we left off. Or maybe you just decide that you and that person no longer should be friends because you guys are going different directions.
Alright. When you start college, you start to experience all the parties. You see how fun it is, you saw it on movies, television, and TV shows, and then you try to copy that, which it backfires. You start drinking a lot, you start getting lazy, you get sloppy. Some people get into addiction. You went from being an A+ student to being a negative student. You don't have good grades anymore. You've just fallen apart. You've actually lost yourself a little bit. In college, the best thing to do is you can drink, that's fine, do it socially, do it on the weekends. But if you catch yourself doing it 3 times a week, you can't live without it, then maybe you should look in the mirror and change yourself. And that.
Okay. So here at GGC Res Life, we have several different. Jesus Christ, I lost it. Hold on. I have to get my thoughts together, you know. Okay.
We'll just cut it.
So at GGC Res Life, there's a lot of different cultures because we are such a diverse college. You'll see different people come from all over. So one of the difficult things about living in a shared space is that you have to get used to, you know, living with people who are used to so many different things. There's sometimes people from other countries or just, you know, other, you know, like other areas, socioeconomic backgrounds, that can make it difficult. As RAs, we try to kind of be a mediator between residents if there are any conflicts. Sometimes at the beginning of semesters, we'll sit down with residents and try to get them to, you know, come to some kind of agreement of how they want to share their space, you know, kind of what times they, you know, go to sleep and expect quiet hours, how clean they expect the suite to be during which specific times, and just kind of handle the day-to-day of res life to make sure everyone gets along. Let me think. Does that cover the first question? Hold on. In the event that there is conflict, we'll typically handle it by first getting both sides of the story, understanding why there is the issue. Like sometimes it's over, like, say, dishes dispute, and somebody, you know, leaves too many dirty dishes in there, and it might attract bugs or something like that. So we'll have to go in there and sit everyone down and make sure people understand that they're cleaning during a certain time, make sure people are respecting each other's space and respecting each other's things. If that's not happening, that could lead to us ending up writing up students or residents and ultimately, like, charging them if they leave a dirty suite and don't handle their end of, like, the roommate agreement, just to come to hopefully peaceful resolution of the room. Yeah, what do you think?
What's like your craziest RA like dispute you had to resolve?
That's a good question. I'd have to think on that. So one of the disputes I had to handle last semester was when residents sort of there were like 3 residents who kind of had their own schedule, and they had like daytime classes, and another resident had nighttime classes, and they spent, you know, most of the time up at night, and that they kind of had like the TV on, and they were just basically living on a different schedule. So our resolution to that was sitting everyone down and kind of setting up ground rules so that way they understood, like, not to be making so much noise past a certain time, and ultimately just to respect each other, make sure that, you know, they're not violating each other's space, I think.
In college, we also have our own trading system. For example, let's say you run out of soap and you still need to take a shower for the night. I'm willing to trade my friends a pack of noodles just for a bar of soap. And each group is different, whether it could be getting help on a homework assignment, having one do your hair, maybe it's a car ride. It really differs from friend to friend, but we all have our own form of a trading system within each other's friend groups. Like, for example, if I buy lunch, then my friends usually buy dinner. Or if we're at the mall and we really want something, we'll trade each other. We don't really have any rules for trading. You can trade just about anything at any given time. But it also differs from friend to friend. Some people want it on a same time frame. Some people want exact money back. Or just, you can do a favor or exchange items. So it's really cool that even if you're broke at college, you can still have the things that you need.
Okay, so the reality of college is that sometimes we procrastinate. And when we procrastinate, we're not being very disciplined. So that leads to us stressing ourselves out, feeling like we don't have time to do the things that we do. And especially because in college, you know, you make your own schedule. So the slower days, you might get wrapped around doing other things. And then that just leads to you not getting your work done, not doing well on a quiz. And sometimes you just gotta be like, it is what it is, and I guess try again another week.
Making a decision to go to college is not an easy decision, and you shouldn't let your parents, society, or outside forces pressure you into something that you might not be ready for. While it is hard to learn how to adult, change as fast as society is changing with the new normal, and as you're growing and maturing and figuring out yourself, you still have to make the adult decision to figure out how to make these things work. College is not at all what I expected it to be, but I'm okay with that.